Yes.
I'd like to open the public hearing. We will close the public hearing after I take my foot out of my mouth. Now,
Yeah.
doing my best. I have a newborn baby at home, guys. I don't get much sleep anymore. Moving on to item D, which is to consider a resolution confirming the declaratory resolution of said commission establishing the Whitestown Green Park, Park 130 Economic Development Area, which is RDC Resolution 2018-8. Again, we've received several presentations from the developer and the broker as part of this project. I believe we've had some support from the RDC. So welcome any comments, or if not, a motion.
I'm excited for this to get underway. I think it's a great thing for the town, so I will make a motion to pass RDC Resolution 2018-8.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
I'd like to open it up for a vote to approve RDC Resolution 2018-8. So those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Something very similar is item E, a part of the same development, which is to consider a resolution approving the real property tax deduction for application, which is the standard 10-year schedule for Park 130. This is RDC Resolution 2018-9. The developer has submitted the tax abatement application. You also have the resolution attached where, I believe, correct, is this for 2 buildings? I believe 2 buildings are part of this. I think 100 and almost 70,000 square feet and about 350-some thousand square feet.
Yes, so speculative abatements, it's a marketing tool.
Right.
Nothing, I don't believe we've ever denied one, and I think they've all worked pretty well. So.
Mm-hmm. This is standard practice. Again, it's all about speed to market, so giving companies, consultants the tools to be able to market this. It just makes it that much better for them and hopefully entices them to go ahead and put a shovel in the ground. So, any questions about the development itself? Building? If not, I will entertain additional comments or a motion to move forward with RDC Resolution 2018-9.
I will make a motion to pass RDC Resolution 2018-9.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second. We'd like to go ahead and open up for a vote. So those in favor of adopting RDC Resolution 2018-9, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. The next few, something very similar, but for the other side of the interstate with Duke Realty. So item F is to consider a resolution approving the real property tax deduction application in an area previously designated as an economic development revitalization area, which is also another very standard process of what we've done, and had a great partner with Duke. So we do have some representatives here from Duke. They have filled out the application and the schedule. Building 2 is what this motion is, or request is for, and that's Cascade is about 150,000 square feet. Again, this is something that we've done many times, but since this is a different source, welcome to ask any questions of Kate. If not, we'll entertain any comments, questions, or a motion.
I'll make a motion to pass RDC Resolution 2018-10.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion, a second. Would like to open up for a vote for approving RDC Resolution 2018-10. So those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Motion carries. 2 more. So item G is to consider another resolution approving the real property tax deduction application, which is Building 4 for Duke Realty's Park, and they have also filled out the same application, very similar size building and similar size investment. Hopefully you've had a chance to review their application. So if no questions, we'll entertain comments or a motion.
Mr. President, I'll move to approve RDC Resolution 2018-11.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion, a second. Would like to go ahead and open up a vote to approve RDC Resolution 2018-11. So those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries for RDC Resolution 2018-11. You're carrying the meeting, Kyle. Last item for Duke Realty would be, item H is to consider a resolution approving real property tax deduction application in an area previously designated as an economic development revitalization area, which is Building 9, which is a different size. I believe it's quite bigger, about 450,000 square feet. And what, investment about 16 million-ish? So, again, standard practice, something that I feel it's still important to do to give our EDC and the town the tools to attract new business. Would entertain any questions, comments, or a motion.
Keep the streak going. Mr. President, I'll make a motion to pass RDC Resolution 2018-12.
A motion, is there a second? There's a second. So we have a motion and a second. Would like to entertain a vote for RDC Resolution 2018-12. So those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. RDC Resolution 2018-12 carries. All right, now you get to see some other pretty faces in the crowd. So item I is to consider a resolution approving a personal property tax deduction application for an area previously designated as an economic development revitalization area for Royal Interpack, which is RDC Resolution 2018-13. Company and consultant are here present. Dax has worked with them. Do you have an application? But if you want to go ahead and walk through the highlights.
Good project. You got the application in front of you and the EDC's recommendations. Molly and I always work closely with one another in discussing these recommendations. I think Molly may come up and say a few words, and representatives of the company's consulting firm might come up and say a few words as well. So.
Again, Molly Whitehead, Boone County Economic Development Corporation. As Dax mentioned, you do have the application in front of you for Royal Interpack. I think this is a really exciting opportunity for Whitestown. Fills a building that has been vacant for a little bit of time, so we're interested in fulfilling that space. What we are recommending is slightly different than what was requested. Again, this is Royal Interpack Midwest. It's headquartered in California. It's a Thailand-based parent company, ultimately, and they're looking at that All Points 19, which is right along 65, the other half of the Telemon space. Royal Interpack, it's a bottle recycling facility. They make the plastic food containers that you might see for strawberries or other sort of berries, vegetables, things along those lines, among other things that they do provide. You're looking at, for this opportunity, up to 130 new jobs for Boone County, average wage close to $19 an hour by 2023, and about $20 million in personal property that would be considered with this project. What we're recommending you consider is a 6-year personal property tax abatement. That would be following the traditional 6-year model, 100%, 85, 66, 50, 34, and 25%. Then past that point, if approved, ultimately by town council, then that would be 100% of property taxes paid starting in year 7. We're estimating those savings around $761,000 over that period of time, and estimating a levy of around $1 million over a 10-year period. And assuming, and I try to make very conservative estimates with this, but assuming around 10% of Boone County residents would work at the facility, looking about $53,000.
I like the other one.
That might be the largest deal I've ever heard. $153,000 in local income taxes, and what we would estimate for that. Again, what we've provided to you, that does not account for the real property taxes that are already being generated by this facility. This facility's been in place for a couple years now. It does have an abatement in place on that, and of course, as Duke and Browning are the building owners, anything, any benefits of that would be negotiated amongst those parties. So certainly we would see additional benefits of having that space here. Mm-hmm. Be happy to answer any questions you have, and there are also representatives of the company here in attendance as well.
This be the company's first facility in Indiana?
Sorry. Currently, they're located in Anderson.
Oh, in Anderson.
And so I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this would be a potential move from. In addition to, stand corrected, in addition to what they currently have.
Molly, one question for you. You mentioned $19 an hour by 2023. What's today's average wage in Boone County? Where does it kind of place their wages today?
This falls a little bit higher than what we typically see. The last, most accurate data we had was $17.42. That's from a wage study that we had performed a couple of years ago. So I would anticipate that number is a little bit higher today than what we've seen. In terms of median household income, which is just another way to kind of look at those numbers, you're looking at Whitestown's median income over $80,000. Of course, that could be a 1 or 2 family household. There's other considerations there. So I would say this is average, if not maybe just a little bit higher than what we typically see in this area.
I'm glad this facility is actually in addition to. Don't like to kind of shift taxes from one area.
It's a tricky world,
This
right?
is more true economic growth. So for these 130 jobs, what types of jobs would they be? Would they be just general logistics, any manufacturing, any executive level
I
positions
think
here?
it's a variety of positions. I might turn it over to Katie. She might be able to give you a slightly better idea of those types of jobs that would come with this potential opportunity.
Good evening. I have to apologize. I have laryngitis, so
Oh.
I'm a 13-year-old boy, and my apologies. But thank you for the opportunity to be here. Royal Interpack, they're a Thailand-owned company based in California. They do have a small operation in Anderson, but this would be in addition to that operation, and it's anticipated that they're just out of space in Anderson, so while they'll continue to operate that facility, this would be where growth was targeted. So as it relates to the leadership and executive positions for their Midwest operations, they would be housed in Whitestown. Most of the jobs are going to be in the production capacity. So I don't know if you, actually the water bottles you've got there, while it's a different product that they're making, it's a similar process where they kind of create the PET form plastics. And so it's a transferable skill and a higher skill than I think a lot of maybe some of the economic development projects that we've sometimes seen in this county. So I think it fits really nicely with kind of what I understand the goals of this group and the town to be. Molly and Dax have been really helpful in trying to secure them here. So their goal is to really invest in the Midwest. California has its challenges in terms of producing this product. They make a lot of, like what your strawberries come in and all that type of plastic gear. So that they would plan to do that here. They would plan to grow here. I think we tried to be really conservative about job creation and wage estimates along with equipment. But I think you'll find if you support the project, if the town council does, that they would be able to move really quickly and continue to move forward with the project. I think there was some press today that was not authorized by the company or anything else, but the conclusion has not yet been made, but they would very much like to locate here, assuming the incentives and everything else get worked out. So happy to answer any other questions you might have about them.
Does it only need to go to the Whitestown Town Council, or does it need to go to the Boone County Redevelopment and the commissioners too?
This is just
Okay.
Whitestown.
What decisions are left to be made?
Essentially, they just, they've looked at the modeling associated with, if incentives are approved and based on real estate economics and that sort of thing. Everything appears to be in good shape. It's just a question of finalizing those details, and I think they'll be in a position to make a quick acceptance. But it is contingent. I mean, the incentives piece is an important one and makes it economically feasible. And some of the other sites they were looking at, both in and around this metro area, and also we looked at some other states. The incentives are an important piece in leveling the playing field.
All right. Any additional questions for Molly, Dax, Molly? They're all.
Just don't call me stupid.
Sorry, Katie. Had both of you on my mind because I'm going to be on the next item for the next two. So, if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve RDC Resolution 2018-13, and to clarify, this is for a 6-year traditional abatement and not the 7-year flat that was listed in their application.
Mr. President, I'll put forward a motion to vote on RDC Resolution
A motion, is there a second?
I will second that.
A motion, a second. We'd like to go ahead and open up for a vote. So those in favor approving RDC Resolution 2018-13, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Sorry, Katie. Next item would be, item J is to consider a resolution approving the personal property tax deduction application for an area previously designated as an economic development revitalization area for NTN, which is RDC Resolution 2018-14. Again, this company has completed the tax abatement application for the town. This is proposed for another traditional personal property abatement, but Katie, I believe are you representing the company as well? Dax or Molly, want to have any additional thoughts on?
Because my voice is so loud.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here, back again, for NTN. This is a project, while they are primarily a logistics operation, the parent company, NTN Bearings, is a large Japanese-owned company. They've got a lot of investment throughout the state of Indiana. If this project happens, it will be the result in part of some closing of other facilities in different states in the Midwest. None of that's totally finalized yet on which ones will be impacted, but this would be an attraction of new jobs to Indiana from other states. What I think is really interesting about this, and you know, I know that RDC members and the town council sometimes struggle with warehouse jobs and what's the right balance, because I know incentives, you take that very seriously and you want to balance it among different types of industries. What I think is really compelling about this is NTN's overall presence in Indiana.
Yeah.
I think the continued investment and the opportunity to grow, potentially, you know, there are no commitments being made today, but for them to put their flag down in Whitestown and some of the related industries that are more manufacturing related, I think that holds a lot of promise. I think the Japanese parent component to all of this, they've been they've partnered quite closely with the IEDC on a couple other projects across the state. So to me, these are some differentiating features that maybe are a little different than your typical warehousing operation. I also note their wages. I mean, it's warehousing primarily, although there will be supervisors and management, and there will be some assembly component to it, but the wages are just under $18 an hour, which I know there's discussion about the average wage in Boone County. Sometimes Molly and I chat about that, because I think when you're looking at whether it's per capita income with this really unique county that's got Zionsville and more rural components in Lebanon, it's kind of hard to pinpoint on just one wage. But I know if you go out and just kind of look at the job openings, a lot of warehousing jobs are $11, $12 an hour. So for them to be able to commit to an average that is that high, that much above, I think really underscores their commitment to paying, being a leader in terms of compensation and the type of employer that I think that you would find them to be. So this project would result in new jobs, not only for Whitestown, but for the state. It'd be about 68 jobs by the end of 2023. Like I said, average wage $17.66 an hour, so that's just under 18 bucks. And it's a pretty, very much appreciated and important for them making a location decision. The ask in terms of personal property tax abatement is not a huge one. I think we're looking at a pretty, very much appreciated and important to making a location decision. It's not like we're asking for a 10-year, 100% or anything like that. So the 5-year abatement would very much help them be able to make a final decision. It's important not just from the dollars and cents from a spreadsheet standpoint, but just all of the kind of corporate politics involved when you've got a big company like this that has enjoyed incentives in other parts of Indiana. I think this is an important statement in terms of the community's interest to welcome them and like to see continued investment here. So with that, I will answer any questions.
What was the type of product that would be in the facility again?
They're going to have a variety of, let's see, I want to make sure I say the right one. It's precision tools, metals, lots of little widgets is really kind of the bearings. So everything, it goes into large manufacturing and distribution equipment and down to small ones. So some of their pieces are really big, and then they've got a higher volume of kind of the little bearings that go along with it.
And the request is just a 5-year traditional personal property abatement? Molly, would this be the first Japanese company in town of Whitestown? In the county?
Sounds like a trip to Japan, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, would these be new jobs coming in, or would there be relocations as well from the other sites?
Some of them might be some relocations from, again, non-Indiana operations, but the majority, it's expected, given the types of jobs, that people are probably not going to cross a lot of state lines for the position. So we expect the majority of them to be new hires.
Where are the other states that it's coming in from?
They've got operations in Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky. They're still trying to determine where these would potentially fold from, but it's definitely going to have an impact to some other operations.
And then, yeah, they've got operations in Columbus and Anderson and Frankfurt. They're very good company. Any additional questions for Katie? If not, thank you. If not, would like to entertain a motion for RDC Resolution 2018-14.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve RDC Resolution 2018-14.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'd like to go ahead and open up for a vote to approve RDC Resolution 2018-14. So those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Kyle, you are the MVP for this meeting here.
Adam stole
Yeah.
my
I'm
thunder.
gonna get him a shirt that says, "I'm the second." I have it made tomorrow.
Final item on the agenda is item K, which is discuss the CF1 reporting process, and that's makes sense for tonight as we were just gone through several tax abatements. And as you know, any company that moves forward with a tax abatement needs to submit annual compliance forms to let you know where they are in their investment and hiring and wages information. So, believe Dax and Molly maybe had a chance to talk. And
Molly and I have talked. We are probably not as far enough along as we need to be, but I think this is an area where we drop the ball a little bit, and I don't think we're alone. I think most communities it's just kind of yeah, they filled out this form, and you can either approve. When you do an abatement, abatements technically get approved every year.
yeah,
Or they have to be reapproved every year. You get a CF1 form you don't like, where they have not complied with the statements of benefits in SB1, the council, ultimately, it wouldn't be you, it'd be the town council, can say, we don't want to continue this relationship, and we're not going to give you the abatement this year. It's 45 days from when we receive the CF1 to make that decision, and if we don't, it automatically renews. And I'll tell you that from the communities I've worked with in my economic development career, it's not a real comprehensive process. So I've talked to you all once, twice, probably 3 years in a row that we need to make it a more comprehensive process. And Molly agrees, and I think Molly's going to help. At least we'll come up with a good system. We at least, one thing that we have done as a town is that when I took position in 2013, I could not have told you, and I don't think you could have easily gone in and known who had an abatement in town, how many years the abatement was for, how many years it was left, what was on the SB1 form. It'd be hard for you to find the public record. We at least now have a very good database. We know all of the abatements that are live and active. We know who's received them. Now it's a matter of getting the CF1 in, matching them, and going through a process of saying, okay, SB1 said this, CF1 now says this, and then triggering, what's the trigger to have a company representative come in front of you? Because if they're compliant, why have them come in from out of town, or somebody from their facility here has to take time out of their day and come talk to you? If they're borderline compliant, why? Is it the economy? Is their business model changing? Are they scaling back to push forward? There's many different things, elements that go into how they're performing. Then you want them to come in and have a discussion with you and the town council, in my opinion. So that's what we need to do a better job of, is not necessarily gathering the information. I think we've finally got it gathered. It's doing a little bit of research, and giving you all advice on who we think we need to have a system in place of when does the red flag go up and when do those people come in front of you.
And CF1 forms are due May 15th?
May 15th. So we'll get them all about May 12th through May 15th.
Yeah.
And they'll start coming in hot and heavy May 1st, and we'll have to scramble through them, and then, you know, when you only have the problem is when you only have 45 days, if we get them on May 15th, your next meeting is June, the first Monday in June, so we've got essentially less than 2 weeks to gather everything, get everything ready, get it in front of you, for you to make a decision. Because if we waited until July, you'd either have to call a special session before the 45 days, or we wait till July, you've pretty much passed
I was just going to say
45-day mark.
that's always kind of been the thing, and because it's got to go to council, that May meeting becomes pretty important.
But I think we'd be good stewards if we did a much better job than we do now. I don't mean you all. I think staff should do a better job of informing you and making it a big deal on the agendas instead of just a part of the process. It is what it is. I think you'd have some eyes open occasionally when somebody said they're going to create 800 jobs and they're sitting at 400. And, you know, they said they create wages of $20 an hour and the average is $15 an hour in a CF1 form. Your eyeballs should be open, then you should be asking some serious questions at that point. So,
I think 2018 might be a little difficult, but at least maybe planning for next year. And you know, Molly's been trying to get a hold of Dex and myself to discuss another project. Maybe we can coordinate to discuss the technology park, but also CF1 form moving forward too, because I think we all have a pretty good grasp of what others are doing throughout the state. Would love it if anyone else is willing to join. Can't have too many people part of the commission being part of this, but I think this is something we need more of an organized approach moving forward, where some entities send reminders March 1, and here's what forms you need to submit and when your deadlines are, and then have that internal process on who reviews them, and then make recommendations to the RDC or the council on what companies need to come forth and present where they're at. So, don't have any other comments on that?
I just say, I think it's a neat opportunity, Mr. President, too, to kind of maybe see for some of those, you know, we talk about the non-compliance, but there are some people that are just overly compliant, and Katie mentioned being kind of conservative on estimates. It's kind of neat to see the ones that come in and they've employed more people than they projected, or they've made more investments.
I agree. Well, unless there's anything additional before the council, would like to adjourn the meeting. So if there's a motion to adjourn.
You know what? I'll make this motion as well.
All
Make a
right.
motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Guys, don't leave.